Juan Pollo is a Mexican-style rotisserie chicken restaurant chain that opened in 1984. Thank you for your suggestion.
30 years ago, the best tasting chicken arrived on the scene. Juan Pollo. The original Mexican recipe and style has been perfected. Our chickens are slowly cooked, gently basting one another on our masterful rotisseries. Each side dish is made from fresh ingredients every day. Family packs for everyone. Tacos for when on the go. Meal deals for the individual. All served with chicken so tender and moist, everyone will be talking about it. Juan Pollo, the best tasting chicken.
Albert Okura was born in 1951 and grew up with a fledgling fast food industry. His first full-time job was working at Burger King in 1970 as a hamburger cook. Recognizing that mental toughness, as well as the ability to train, develop, and motivate others, was critical for long-term success, Albert gravitated to those who inspired him. Lessons learned from life experiences helped him realize his destiny. This led to managerial positions in the chain, as well as Del Taco. In 1981, while working for the Del Taco in Carson, an El Pollo Loco opened near him. At the time, El Pollo Loco was a new charbroiled Mexican chicken chain. Okura tried the restaurant and was impressed with the food and the simplicity of its operations. He began to investigate into opening his own restaurant. By 1983, Okura was looking beyond Del Taco, and the opportunity came when he learned via family connections that his uncle George Komatsu had a shopping center in Ontario that had a vacant restaurant on the property. Inspired by El Pollo Loco with the startup capital from Uncle George, via his son Robert, and help from the future brother-in-law, Paro, Okura dove in. With the help of his future brother-in-law, Armando Parra created the recipe of Juan Pollo, who grew up in the area of Chihuahua, Mexico, where rotisserie chicken restaurants are popular. Okura looked into opening the restaurant. However, Parra told Okura the restaurant was not big enough for the grills and suggested rotisserie cooking instead. This location would become the first location for his restaurant that opened in January of 1984. It was a choice that made all the difference in the world, setting it apart from the El Pollo Loco by tasting better and keeping longer as leftovers by not drying out. This led to the slogan, "The best tasting chicken." There was also an issue of what to name it. Don Pollo, the first choice, was already in use, so it became Juan Pollo. For a mascot, instead of a creepy crowned king or a fawning clown or a old goateed man in a white suit, they used a cartoon chicken named Juan. Launching the Ontario restaurant, the one-time bachelor lived in a storage trailer in the parking lot. He was there all the time anyway, his son Aaron said, so he slept on bags of beans and rice, until health inspectors told him he couldn't live atop his ingredients. His first day's sales? A paltry $165. "I didn't know what I was doing," he said. "I didn't know how to cook chicken. I didn't even like chicken, but I told myself I was going to do this and I was going to stick with it for 5 years no matter what. I made a commitment." The fare served at Juan Pollo, chickens from a particular supplier, marinated using a custom-made recipe invented by his brother-in-law and rotisserie cooked to perfection for as long as 3 hours, became popular among critics and customers alike. In January of 1986, he opened his second restaurant at 5th Street and Mount Vernon Avenue in San Bernardino, which is now the flagship location. Business was slow for months, but that summer, a San Bernardino Sun newspaper restaurant critic at the time, Norm Baffery, paid a visit, then declared in print that it was the best chicken he had ever eaten. 4 days after that, Juan Pollo had lines out the door. "We were making $4,000 a day," Okura said. "We were buried in business." The restaurant soon expanded beyond the 2 restaurants. He would grow the company to now having 25 locations across the Inland Empire, Orange, and LA County. In 1998, he acquired the location of the first original McDonald's in San Bernardino, where he later established a museum to commemorate the early history of McDonald's. He was inspired by Ray Kroc and aimed to emulate his success in building one of the largest franchise systems in history. After buying the original McDonald's restaurant site in San Bernardino, he would make it both his corporate headquarters and a museum, and has a small Route 66 museum adjacent to his San Bernardino restaurant on 5th Street, which at one time was Route 66. In 2005, he purchased the ghost town of Amboy, California. Popularized in the 1950s and 60s, Roy's Motel and Cafe is now one of the most popular destinations to visit along Route 66. When asked why he purchased the town, who do you know that owns a town? The $425,000 sale came with 2 landing strips, a 26-unit motel, a church, a functioning post office, 4 gas pumps, and an assortment of scattered buildings, and Roy's Motel and Cafe. The company has grown from its first location in Ontario to over 25 locations found throughout Southern California. Juan Pollo sells 80 to 90 tons of chicken per week, and Okura himself probably cooked 2 million chickens by himself. Sadly, Albert Okura, the founder of Juan Pollo, died on January 27, 2023, at the age of 71, after a brief illness. Thank you for watching. If you like this content, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Thanks.